So chapter 308 of Shokugeki no Soma, or better known as Food Wars, just came out, and I just want to talk about it real quick. In this chapter, we finally see the conclusion of Soma versus Saiba Asashi, and as their food finally get judged against each other. So in the beginning of the chapter, we see that the one to judge their cooking was the same people that judged from the regimental Shokugeki from the previous arc. So we do know them from a previous story, and we see that they come in and they're already kind of liking Saiba in the beginning, which is very interesting, but I don't think that's going to play into it anything. And I think that's just a little comedy moment in the chapter. But then after that, we see something really interesting. We see something that's never happened in Shokugeki previously, and that's how the aroma of the food that Saiba made has before even opening the plate itself, the aroma from Saiba's food has actually already affected the judges and have already kind of whet their appetite before they've even looked at the food or tasted the food. So that's the first. So I don't think that's ever happened before in Shokugeki. So that's scary. I mean, that it just shows how good Saiba was with his cross knives. And once Saiba revealed his food, he revealed that he actually cooked a pie. I think somebody said the technical term was it was a basuti, which is a type of pie. And how he cooked to the theme of the fight was that he basically made this pie, and inside the pie was the ingredients from all the 5 great cuisines. Yeah, so that's how he fused the 5 different cuisine types into one, and he filled this pie up with just random stuff, basically from the different 5 cuisines. And when the judge ate it, they just start raving about it, and this is not looking good for Soma, because they were just, I think one of the judges was saying that even if you put 5 like masters of each great cuisine, like it would be impossible to harmonize them into a single dish. And this is exactly what Saiba has accomplished. And I think I'm gonna quote what one of the judges said, that this is a dish that cannot come together on its own naturally. And it even shook like all of there was a panel that showed that all of Soma's friends from the Polar Star dorm was quite shook after he said that. And now the biggest thing that would make me worry for Soma is that the Erina's mom, or the bookmaster, also got to try Saiba's food, and she displayed the same power that Erina's dad also had, which is I think it's where they eat good food and they just starts stripping everyone in near her, and that's not a good thing. So because that tells us that Erina's mom actually liked the food. So that is definitely not good for Soma, because that just showed that Saiba was able to at least meet Erina's expectations, which is that he can satisfy the god tongue, and that's not good. But there are some positives I see in this chapter that can lead to Soma's victory. So first things first, let's get it out of the way. The the meme of Shokugeki no Soma is that um anyone who serves their dish first usually loses. Like not every time, but I would say maybe about 75% of the time, or maybe even 80% of the time, the first person who serves the dish always loses 80% of the time. And so that's a point in Soma's category. um Another thing that I would say that's quite good for Soma is that I've even though they were raving about Saiba's dish, they weren't really. It didn't seem like their reactions was like greatly exaggerated. So I would think that would be being saved for Soma's dish, because usually after they make like a bite or two, they usually like have very exaggerated burst of like enjoyment for the food, right? Like they either strip or they either like have very like basically like a foodgasm sort of look. But in this chapter, like there is no signs of like exaggerated enjoyment of the food, except for I guess the Irina's mom's stripping powers. But we haven't even actually seen how Irina's mom reacted to the food, so that's still also a big point for Soma. But the one something I found funny in this chapter was that also one of the judges said that it's as if Saiba was the main character in a story of cooking, which is funny because even though that is a compliment to Saiba, he's not the main character of Shokugeki. That's Soma. So if you're she was trying to compliment Saiba with a compliment that Soma is already like Soma's already a main character of a cooking story. So you know what, that it paints a picture that Saiba's a bit lower than Soma. So I'm definitely feeling a bit confident for Soma after this chapter. Also, I guess in a narrative point of view, I would expect Soma to win, because I don't know what would happen if Saiba would win, because Erina's already like she's checked out if Saiba wins, you know, because his mind games have already gone into her head. She's definitely like entranced by what Saiba was selling. So if Saiba were to win, like Erina's done. Like Erina would never beat Saiba at the current state that she's in. But if Soma were to win, that would, I think, snap Erina out of whatever like mental breakdown she's going through right now. And then it would also set up a final for Erina against Soma, and which could be interesting because I think it was last arc that we get to see that Erina was definitely still better than Soma in terms of cooking. So we get to see like a rematch to see how much Soma and Erina has progressed. But it would make sense to me narratively if Soma fights against Erina in the finals, and then Erina were to make something that her mother approves of. That would make sense narratively. Like if Saiba wins here, like I don't know where it would go. Like, because Saiba would definitely win against Erina narratively, because it wouldn't make sense for Erina to beat Saiba. Because that would be just the same results as the last arc. Because the last arc, Soma kinda lost against the first seed, Tsukasa, I think his name was, and then Erina stepped in and kind of beat him, right? So I don't know if I want a replication of the last arc. So I really want to see Soma win. and see how he would have surpassed his dad if he would win too. So that would be a very good progression for Soma if that were to happen. But all in all, this was a very good chapter. I think the art, as usual for Shokugeki no Soma, is exceptional, and good comedy inside it. And you know what? I can't. I think the author's really milking this fight, because this whole chapter was just them tasting Saiba's dish. Which, well, to be fair, this is how usually the chapters go. So next week we'll get to see Soma's dish gets tasted, and then I would predict that we'll have to wait another chapter after that to see who wins. But then, yeah, very good chapter of Shokugeki no Soma, and yeah, I can't wait for the next one. So yeah, those were my thoughts on chapter 308 of Shokugeki no Soma. Please comment to see, so I can see what you guys thought of it, and thanks for listening. Bye.